de la Zigambri, de la Présidente.
Place it somewhere, you know. Kaito wela alejandro.
Aye, ngalo more kaito kalawo.
Mani maf more kaito buko. It's a booklet.
A big
Be careful. More kaito na buko mangi.
Sai ede podi mo fila kan do la fen ko jugo.
Hey, sa nim fam sa ngam makal ni inspector. Jwal dal. Edal dal. Yela nje. Sama ya kule. Mbe ma ko la bi filo. Jwal dal. Nakeba. Allah nyula nyul fale nyul ko total sain. Allah instana. Ita fang lañ diwa ka jara jara fay ñam.
Way tiele amna ut len lu nga ko li tiere wala
kono bi la waroon dem nga am na fi ren lañ ko kala
Dat ñi ma.
E bay ramane aga boy la fo.
Na julo so lamta kat nañ.
Julo. Julo.
It's fine. Abi ñaar ni. Abi ñaar.
Nga jall sa tripod mu.
Beda. Barda di dal ñu kebulo fanam boy. Julo dem. Julo.
Ela ko kasit.
Kasik. E ko no ni ma.
Sanya ndo bali.
Subhanallah. Ite mu bari na ti.
Abanta afanya onkul.
Ite bari mu saye yaye.
Akala onkul mu sanya. Nta afanya onkul.
Bari.
Sanya mindo.
Nte jak Ibo Town. Bay do la sa do bota Kajaro.
Mindo?
Kanyaro.
Casamance, okay.
Bay do
fundo president lo fundo ka fo wer men ko di molla sai.
No wonder. No worry. Next time. Sorry. Allah nyula nyenda nsamala baada ndo aliye ugos. Ay.
Saya kana barga toy.
Yeah.
Nyange par.
MC ka
Sorry. This podium is wonderful.
Alla microphone let's say. They should look for a centralized finger where all of them should tap. And you just have one here.
How can you do that?
It's not possible. I see it happen.
Where?
Am possible, where all of you can tap from one microphone? You don't have the gadget.
Of course, but like I don't have long cable.
You don't have the gadget.
Long cable.
That we have to come with a big mixer.
Yeah.
Everything there. And
Exactly.
they will take from that mixer.
Yeah. Pike.
Maybe you people should
You are the
think of
leader.
doing that.
You provide.
But in the long run,
Next time,
this is not
tomorrow,
healthy at all.
we request from you.
Yeah, security wise, this is not healthy at all. Hello?
Mr. James.
In fact, I'll personally come there. There's nothing like to request. I'll personally come.
You don't recognize me.
Either he provide or I arrest him. Uncle Parera, na lote.
You want no?
Dalo
Ma confirmation.
Ikaw na
Boy manga nyari dem.
Manga.
The audio is good, huh?
Mangla call fee.
Yes. I President Ramabaro. Mwe.
You know the offense committed here. It's
I
suicide.
President
It's suicide.
Ramabaro.
What you committed here? You know what you should use it for? And then they use like as a target for the recruits.
I think there are a few bags there. Those bags.
That's it. It's better.
Why does this one wants to be the lead camera?
This is the main mic.
Yeah, it's fine. You don't necessarily need to.
Funny Lord, I need them.
Why not?
This is not picking from, and these things are picking from this mic.
Oh, it's okay.
This is for the camera. This is for the speaker.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just very close.
Yes. And you say that it's okay.
Why not here?
No. This has to come close.
Nyimbuka pick no. They should update.
What do you do?
From here to here, this should be able to pick. No? It's less than 20 centimeters.
We know what we're doing.
No, I also know what I want.
Not what you want.
No, it's what I want.
Giving you what you want.
No, I am giving you space to place your microphone.
But it's not good here because nobody will hear you.
This is what I'm telling you, you need to update.
Update to
Microphone that cannot pick less than 20 centimeters silent.
Definitely, you have to
Huh?
change.
You need to
Then
change.
you will change to modern ones.
What type of microphone is this?
You will change to modern ones.
That has to be in front here.
That's a modern mic.
It's a modern mic, it's not modern.
Okay.
Less than 20 centimeters, it can't pick mic.
Okay. Then,
He's trying to modernize.
We have seen microphone in Katrajang, just a single one here.
that's where you are.
And you are here and say something and it picks it. Yalo, I told you, listen. Oh, niregre. Nko niregre. No la law bilmo. Is hani lemo.
When you are
Tama
inside
hubil
already-
broka mo.
When you are inside already. Look at the Jola, man.
Nko niregre. It's okay there.
Well, some people, why, how you were talking, not how I'm talking. Some will talk high, some will talk low. If you put the mic
Allez, allez, allez. Allez, 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 allez. Allez, allez, allez. Allez, allez, allez. Allez, 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 allez. Allez, allez, allez. Allez, allez, allez. Allez, allez, allez.
No, I know. Somewhere here.
Now move this way. Du danu. It's okay. What? No? No, I'm not doing this. B. Definitely. Ivan.
Are you ready? May it please your Lordship, may we start the program now? Your Excellency, the President, Mr. Adam Barrow, His Lordship, the Honorable Chief Justice, Honorable Judges of the Superior Courts, Honorable Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Honorable Ministers, Your Worships, Magistrates and Cadis, Your Excellencies, members of the Diplomatic Corps, members of the Judicial Service Commission, President of the Gambia Bar and members of the Bar, the Director General of the Gambia Law School, governors, presidents and members of the district tribunals, venerable religious leaders, members of staff of the judiciary and of the Attorney General's chambers, the media, distinguished guests, all protocols respectfully and duly observed. Assalamu alaikum and good morning. And on behalf of His Lordship, the Honorable Chief Justice and the Judiciary, I extend a warm welcome to you all and thank you for gracing this ceremony marking the legal year 2022. I am the Judicial Secretary and my name is Aissatou Diallo. The rest of the program guide as contained in the invitation is as follows. Invocation by the Imam Ratib of Banjul, representative of the Christian Council, statement by the President of the Gambia Bar Association, statement by the Honorable Attorney General and Minister of Justice, the main address by His Lordship, the Honorable Chief Justice, and the opening address marking the official opening of the legal year will be delivered by none other than His Excellency, the President of the Republic of the Gambia, President Adama Barrow. At the close of the ceremony, His Excellency, the President, will have a photo session with the judicial staff and members of the Gambian Bar. And thereafter, whilst proceeding to the chambers of the Honorable Chief Justice, His Excellency the President will meet the staff of the Judiciary and the Attorney General and Ministry of Justice. The meeting at the chambers of the Honorable Chief Justice is by strict invitation. Those invited will be announced before the close of the ceremony. Without further ado, permit me to invite the Imam Ratib of Banjul to do the Muslim prayer.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. ربنا إننا سمعنا مناديا ينادي للإيمان أن آمنوا بربكم فآمنا. ربنا فاغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار. ربنا وآتنا ما وعدتنا على رسولك ولا تخزنا يوم القيامة إنك لا تخلف الميعاد. اللهم إنا نسألك حيثا بلا بلاء وهملا بلا رياء ودينا بلا هواء وتوبة بلا رجوع وصحة بلا مرض وهافية بلا مشقة ومغفرة بلا حساب وجنة بلا حساب وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. برحمة اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق والحاتم لما سبق الناصر الحق بالحق والهادي إلى صراطك المستقيم وعلى آله حق قدره العظيم. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. برحمة لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله سيدنا محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. آمين يا رب العالمين.
Amina. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala answer the prayers and grant us a successful year. I will now invite the representative of the Christian Council to do the Christian prayer. Senior Council Bola Carol has been kind enough to agree to do the prayers. Thank you. You are welcome.
Let us pray. Lord God Almighty, you said that where 2 or 3 are gathered together in your name, there you are in the midst of them. Lord God, I hereby invoke your divine powers that you may overlook this particular gathering. You have said, O Lord, that where you are, there we are with you. We pray, O Lord, that you will protect, guide this particular meeting of all of us here in our deliberations. And we also pray and God that you may guide and protect the judiciary in its administration, its deliberations, and its activities. We pray that your blessings will cascade down upon us like showers of blessings, and that this judiciary may move from strength to strength. Lord God Almighty, to whom all hearts are open, all desires known, and from whom no secrets are hid. Cleanse the thoughts of our hearts by the inspiration of thy Holy Spirit, that we may perfectly love thee and worthily magnify thy glorious name. Through Jesus Christ, to whom belongs the glory, the dominion, and the power, forever and ever. Amen.
May the good Lord answer the prayers and grant us a successful year full of grace, peace, and prosperity. I have the honor and pleasure to take this opportunity on behalf of His Lordship, the Honorable Chief Justice, and the entire judiciary to welcome you all to this special sitting and gathering, and to also extend best wishes for the new year filled with much promise. I'm grateful to all of you, including friends and colleagues abroad, for having taken time to join us this morning. I pray that as we embark upon this new year, God will bestow His richest blessings upon us. It is long been a tradition to hold a special ceremony marking the opening of the legal year, of which the main feature is the delivery of the Honorable Chief Justice's address and opening statement by His Excellency, the President. I'm confident that when we look back on all that has happened last year, we are grateful for the remarkable spirit of cooperation and collaboration that made possible what seemed impossibly daunting at times. The Attorney General's Chambers and Ministry of Justice, the Gambia Bar, and the judiciary have worked together tirelessly over the year with the support of development partners to meet the many challenges posed by COVID-19 pandemic in order to keep the engines of justice running smoothly. For this, I thank you all and the Honorable Chief Justice for his visionary leadership and innovative thinking and commitment to the cause of ensuring that justice is delivered at the doorstep of every Gambian. Just as we were beginning to settle into living with COVID-19, given the availability of vaccines and better knowledge of mitigation, a new variant has emerged, which has thrown global COVID-19 situation into uncertainty yet again. This unfolding of events shows us that we are certainly not out of the woods. We are optimistic that further and continuous research in medical science and technology will be the resolution for the total eradication of this global menace. We must therefore continue to observe all health protocols, adapt to social changes, and remain vigilant as we go about our daily lives. Crisis should never be viewed as all bad. It is in such times that our most creative and imaginative thoughts lead to positive action. It is noted that over the last year, the courts had moved simply managing COVID-19 pandemic to developing new and innovative ways of improving the justice system as a whole in light of the deficiencies laid bare by the pandemic. It is the case that the pandemic has created considerable challenges for the administration of justice across the globe, and indeed, without exception, for the functioning of our courts. It has forced us as a judiciary to see and engage in virtual world, and in us redefining our views of that courts are no longer being seen so much as a place, but so much as a service. The courts and all of us, along with it, we are pushed into survival mode, requiring the judiciary to transform its operation at an even faster pace In fact, over the past year, we have seen the use of digital platforms and other innovations becoming significant and essential feature of the court system. This is for many a much welcome transformation. At this stage, the essential question is, what would the justice system resemble in the next 5 years or 10 years? It is, I think, fair to say that COVID-19 lingers on, and even beyond the pandemic, digitally driven courts will be critical to the continued administration of justice. Courts around the world have arrived at the same conclusion that digitally operated courts and services are here to stay, even when the pandemic hopefully becomes a distant memory. Economic survival requires that we adapt and take full advantage of the ICT revolution. There is no turning back. And looking towards the future, and in taking on the board what COVID has taught us, the Honorable Chief Justice now seeks to implement new and improved measures to ensure the continuing of the court's work and the dispensation of justice in and beyond the COVID-19 era. This, in turn, will involve continued reforms of existing courts, processes, and procedures, all aimed at improving the court's accessibility, efficiency, and effectiveness in the delivery of justice in the post-COVID-19 world. Accordingly, a fitting theme for this year's legal year address would be the use of technology to enhance efficiency and the rule of law in the judiciary. The judiciary of the Gambia, under the able leadership of His Lordship, the Honorable Chief Justice, and with the support of His Excellency President Adama Barrow and the new government, and the complementary support of our development partners, will re-image the justice system in the era of COVID-19 and beyond. The theme reflects the judiciary's sense of duty to the people, who it serves on a daily basis. Indeed, recognizing that a modern and responsive judicial system is at the core of all social and economic development, the judiciary will be constantly innovative in its modus operandi in order to sustain and maintain its commitment to providing effective and efficient access to an independent and accountable system of justice for the benefit of all persons within the Gambia. It is, as the renowned philosopher Francis Macron has stated, if we do not maintain justice, justice will not maintain us. Technology has played a very crucial role in making the courts more accessible to those seeking justice in any circumstances. The crucial change for the judiciary and the administration of justice currently is that consideration has to be made on the state of a sustainable access to justice in the COVID era. The courts have achieved greater technological advancement in the last 2 years owing to the pandemic than it would have been in a decade. The judges have adjusted well to remote hearings, at least in the context of civil and criminal, with the utilization of screen sharing technology. They have also found assistance with reference to the flexibility of the transmission of court processes. This has tremendously improved the level of advocacy and interaction between the bench, bar, irrespective of whether the counsel before them is a senior or junior. Remote hearings have made life easier for lawyers who have been relieved from having to waste time on travel and are now opportune to have their cases heard at the comfort of their offices. The judiciary, however, acknowledges the fact that remote hearings are not perfect due to technical issues, such as fluctuation of internet connection, amongst others. There is no doubt that the overall gain and accessibility that remote hearing bring still far outweigh the downsides which can be worried on. His Lordship, the Honorable Chief Justice, in his address today, will recount the rapidly changing environment that confronts us today. He will highlight the major developments over the course of the past year and key developments on the horizon, which fall into 3 broad categories, namely human resources, management, judicial, and development plan. I am confident that in all this, we will continue working together to further strengthen our justice system by moving in the same collaborative spirit that long served us well. Thank you very much once again for your presence this morning. On behalf of His Lordship, the Chief Justice, I would now like to invite the President of the Bar Association to make a statement on behalf of the Bar. Mr. Saliu Tal, the President of the Gambia Bar Association, is a private legal practitioner who has been active. He has been an active member of the Bar from 2002 to date. You are welcome, Mr. President of the Gambia Bar Association.
Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. His Excellency, President of the Republic of the Gambia, the Honorable Chief Justice, judges of the Superior Courts, the Honorable Attorney General, Minister of Justice, and leader of the Bar, magistrates and cadis, members of the Judicial Service,
members of the different core and development partners here present, governors, chiefs, religious leaders, members of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, all protocols respectfully observed. I guess I may have to amend my introductory paragraph. I thought I was supposed to make the first statement, but my learned friend has made a very detailed introduction. I am honored and privileged to deliver this statement on this auspicious occasion as President of the Gambia Bar Association, marking the official opening of the 2022 legal year. Gambia Bar Association, as a key stakeholder in the legal sector, has a long and honorable history of partnering with the judiciary and the Minister of Justice to commemorate the official opening of the legal year. Permit me, briefly, take you back to memory lane. I am lightly informed
by a very senior lawyer, who is also a father to me, that the official opening of the legal year in its current format was introduced in the aftermath of the aborted, which was an attempt to overthrow the democratically elected government, we so rest in peace, by unconstitutional means. The official celebration, opening of the legal year in that year, was an opportunity for the government of the day to bring Gambians together and assert the supremacy of our democracy and the rule of law. The inaugural opening of the legal year was done in grand style and was attended by all the leaders and representatives of the three arms of government, as well as stakeholders in the legal sector, including the Gambia Bar Association, led by Alaji Drame, at the time may so rest in peace, traditional chiefs, as well as foreign dignitaries, including the then Attorney General of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the legal luminary Richard Akinjide, SAN, as the guest speaker on the occasion. As we officially open the legal year, it is pertinent to review and take stock of the state of the legal sector, our roles as stakeholders, our achievements, our challenges, and chart a way forward for the year ahead to achieve our overall sectoral objective of strengthening the rule of law and enhancing access to justice in an effective and efficient manner. Today, we celebrate the official opening of the legal year in a different Gambia. A Gambia that has emerged from a 22-year brutal dictatorship and a system that deliberately and seriously undermined the independence and integrity of the justice sector until the democratic will of the Gambian people and the threat of military force finally uprooted the system, ushering the democracy we celebrate today. Today, we celebrate the opening of a legal year in a Gambia that elected its president in a peaceful, free, and fair election. We congratulate His Excellency for his second mandate and wish him a successful tenure. We also congratulate all the contestants in the just concluded presidential elections for conducting themselves in accordance with the dictates of the laws of the land. We congratulate the Supreme Court of the Gambia for its expeditious determination of the petition challenging the 2021 election results before the swearing in of His Excellency as President of the Republic. We also take this opportunity to celebrate the judiciary for a milestone in the appointment of 2 women as members of the Kadi panel. In 2017, the President of the Republic, then, the President was sworn in the Gambian Embassy in Dakar, and it took the threat of economic forces to uphold the sovereign will of the Gambian people. And today, in 2022, our Supreme Court had the final say as expected in a democracy. This is a testimony to our peaceful nature as a people and a milestone in our journey towards the consolidation of our nascent democracy. We have really come a long way, and it is fitting to acknowledge our democratic wins. The legal year celebration brings together all the stakeholders in the legal sector: the judiciary, the private and public bar, the executive, and the legislature. This is testament to the importance and the critical role of the legal sector as the drivers and custodians of the rule of law. The bar is a rule of law institution, and it is important to understand its role in this regard. What is the role of the bar in upholding the rule of law? It is important to emphasize the importance of a strong and independent bar in upholding the rule of law. A strong and independent bar exists to serve the public interest and further the administration of justice. Our role does not just stop as advocates in court, helping litigants uphold their rights and defend their interests, or drawing conveyances for our clients. The role of the bar goes beyond providing legal services to our paid clients. As a bar, we have a unique societal role to serve and protect the public interest. This also raises a lot of expectations on the part of the citizens. Accordingly, the Gambia Bar Association has recognized its role as a defender of the public interest and the need to reposition itself to better serve the public interest, thus practicalizing the doctrine of the relationship between law and society. Accordingly, with support from the UNDP, we recently completed our 5-year strategic plan, aptly titled Equity in Law and Justice. This plan, with all our stakeholders, including but not limited to the judiciary, the Ministry of Justice, the police, civil society, and the Gambia Chamber of Commerce, representing private sector. The rule of law is the bedrock of a democratic society. The rule of law is not only about the fair application and respect for the law of the law. It goes further than that. And in fact, the rule of law presupposes that the laws of the land are just and equitable. The cornerstone of the rule of law is the equality and fairness of laws. The laws of the land in a democracy must reflect its republican values and empower the citizen to exercise their constitutional and rights without undue hindrance. The laws of the land in democracy must not be oppressive or against democratic values or offend human rights principles. As a bar, we wish to reiterate the importance and the critical need to overhaul the body of draconian and democratic laws conceived, designed, and used to perpetuate a dictatorship for 22 years. It is disheartening, to say the least, that we still have the same constitution that was amended more than 50 times, the same draconian laws used to persecute the citizenry on a brutal dictatorship. As a rule of law institution, the bar is calling for the expeditious introduction of a new constitution and the repeal of all repugnant undemocratic laws that don't conform to international human rights norms and democratic values. I will now touch on the independence of the judiciary, which is an important facet of the rule of law. An independent and well-respected judiciary is a swing canon for democracy to thrive. We acknowledge the great improvements in the justice delivery system and increased confidence in the fairness and independence of the judiciary. I dare say that as a bar, we have utmost confidence in the judiciary and the judicial system in the Gambia. We also recognize and acknowledge the role of the executive for respecting the independence of the judiciary. There have been judgments or rulings against the executive and other arms of the government in line with the laws of the land. And unlike the past, these rulings have been respected. In today's Gambia, executive overreach or interference in the judiciary is no longer an accepted practice or norm. And importantly, judicial decisions are sacrosanct, and rightly so. We urge all stakeholders to jealously guard the independence and integrity of the judiciary. My famous saying is, the glass is half full and not half empty. But we still have a long way to go, and we cannot rest on our laurels. Despite efforts to clear the backlog of cases still take too long to be completed. And our judicial officers at all levels still record proceedings by hand. this is not acceptable in this day and age. It's very long and onerous for our judicial officers and contributes to the delay in cases. The delays in cases is more chronic in the case of criminal law, and this is of great concern as it impinges on the fundamental rights guaranteed to defendants by our Constitution. We still have many defendants languishing in remand for years and some in detention without even being arraigned before a competent court. The road to justice, especially for those without means, is a very long, uncertain, and despondent one. There is an urgent need to overhaul the entire criminal justice system and address these pressing challenges. As stakeholders, we all have an important role to play in this regard. Whilst the number of courts and personnel, that is in terms of judges and magistrates, has increased, access to justice, particularly beyond the Greater Banjul area, is still a challenge. This is a collective responsibility for all of us to strive to ensure that all citizens of this country have access to the same quality of legal services and justice. When we speak about bringing justice to the doorsteps of Gambians, we mean all Gambians, regardless of where you live. We call on the government to continue to fund and increase funding for the judiciary. As a bar, we continue to fearlessly advocate and safeguard and protect the independence of the judiciary. It is important to understand the role of judges. A judge's role is to adjudicate disputes and interpret the law in a myriad of cases. Their rulings sometimes have political, economic, social, and societal repercussions. It is important to understand that judges decide cases strictly in accordance with the laws, based on facts and evidence presented to them or the court, without being influenced by extraneous considerations. Their duty to determine cases by reference to law and supporting their duty is to determine cases by reference to law and supporting legal principles. It is important for the public and the media in particular to have a better understanding of the role of the judges and refrain from casting aspersions on members of the bench, particularly on social media, when they're unhappy with their decisions or when a decision is deemed unpopular. We must shield the judges from such unfair and unwarranted attacks to ensure that the integrity of the bench is protected. As a bar, we have a duty to defend the independence and integrity of the judiciary. We shall continue to do so, and equally, we have a duty to educate the public and stakeholders to create more awareness. The bar is an institution uniquely placed to discharge the importance of upholding the rule of law and protecting the independence of the judiciary. This is a very noble and onerous role which requires the bar to maintain its independence. Without an independent bar, you cannot speak of an independent judiciary. The bar and the bench have a symbiotic relationship. All judges are barristers at law and members of the bar. The training of a judge starts at the bar, whether it's at the State's Law Office, that's the AG Chambers, or in private practice. It is important to note that as a society governed by the rule of law, everyone is entitled to a fair trial. This also entails unhindered access to legal advice and representation. As lawyers, we represent clients accused of rape, murder, or even unlawfully denied of their property. Sometimes lawyers are unfairly criticized by the court of public opinion for representing clients deemed unpopular or condemned by the public without the benefit of a trial. This trend is common not only in the Gambia, but in many jurisdictions, and is actually made worse by the proliferation of social media platforms. As a bar, we have a duty to help educate the public of our role and to increase their awareness and confidence in the legal system and processes. The lawyer you accused today of defending in the discharge
as a bar, we strongly advise the government to ensure that those who bear
the greatest responsibility for the serious human rights violations and abuses during the 22 years of the previous regime are held accountable and prosecuted, preferably in the Gambia. The TRRC has unearthed the truth, and now the next step is to ensure justice is achieved for the victims and the entire Gambian population. Implementation of the TRRC will finally close this chapter on a dark era of impunity. It is our collective duty to ensure that never again is not merely a slogan, but a reality in a new Gambia. I thank you all for your patience. For the Gambia, our homeland.
On behalf of the Honorable Chief Justice and the entire judiciary, we register our deepest gratitude to the President of the Bar and members of the Bar for their support and collaboration. Our next speaker to address us is the Honorable Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Honorable Dawda Jallow. He was appointed Attorney General and Minister of Justice in July 2020. However, before that, he had served as a magistrate for many years at the judiciary. And he is here. He's welcome home again. Please give your attention to the Honorable Dawda Jallow.
Sorry, sir.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of the Gambia, Honorable Speaker, I'm not sure if the Speaker is present, my Lord the Chief Justice, Justices of the Superior Courts, Magistrates and Cadis, Honorable Cabinet Ministers here present, members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, members of the Judicial Service Commission, the President and members of the Gambia Bar Association, regional governors present here, members of the district tribunals, service chiefs, members and staff of the judiciary and staff of the Ministry of Justice, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all other protocols respectfully observed. I am delighted to once again deliver these remarks on the commemoration of the official opening of the legal year. It is that time of the year again when we gather in this time-tested tradition to mark the auspicious occasion of the start of the legal year. As always, the occasion offers the judiciary and main stakeholders within our justice system an opportunity to take stock of and share the milestones registered over the previous year, legal year, and the challenges anticipated in the coming year. The opening of the legal year is also an opportunity to share strategies, plans, and initiatives marked for implementation in the course of the new legal year. Your Excellencies, my Lord, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as Attorney General and Minister of Justice, let me use this opportunity to commend the judiciary for their timely intervention in easing the smooth dispensation of justice made possible by rigorous implementation of the Judiciary Strategic Plan 2021-2025, and for the positive strides made in improving the legal framework and access to justice in the Gambia. Over the past few years, there has been a noticeable revival of judicial independence, respect for rule of law, respect for constitutional democracy, and public trust in our legal system. The recently launched 5-year strategic plan and donor conference organized by the judiciary is a testament to the progressive approach adopted by the judiciary under the leadership of the Honorable Chief Justice. Of course, the judiciary has also made positive headway in improving the capacity of its workforce, while at the same time improving institutional efficiency and continuing to advance legal education in the Gambia. Your Excellencies, my Lords, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as a partner to the judiciary and a key stakeholder in the establishment and dispensation of justice, rule of law, and democratic principles in the Gambia, my ministry has also made significant gains in improving service delivery through the conduct of several training opportunities for State Council and both within and outside of the Gambia. Furthermore, in addition to improvements in its goal of indigenizing the legal and judicial sector, the Ministry of Justice has upgraded its ancillary services delivery mechanism by initiating automation and database systems that facilitate more streamlined service delivery. At the Registrar General's Department, we are in the second phase of developing a digitalized deeds registration and automation system designed to smoothen the process of registering instruments in the Gambia into a modernized and time-efficient process. Concerning the Gambia's intellectual property regime, the ministry recently completed a new intellectual property building to house the intellectual property and copyright offices. In the same vein, I am also pleased to state that the Gambia has been elected as second vice chair of the ARIPO Administrative Council and Council of Ministers. Another critical component of the development within my ministry is the company's registry. The single window business registry continues to facilitate efficient registration of businesses and to be an important revenue stream for government. Plans are underway to improve the IT facilities at the company registry. At the Office of the Curator of Interstate Estates, an electronic database system is being developed for the efficient file and account management. The database will improve transparency and accountability and quality of service delivery in the management of the deceased person's estate. Your Excellencies, my Lords, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is also worthy to note that the ancillary agencies under my ministry have registered significant improvement in their respective roles in the dispensation of legal services and facilitation of access to justice. The Alternative Dispute Resolution Services has continued to raise awareness and sensitize the public with particular focus on rural areas. Officers at the ADRS have engaged people at lumos, markets, villages, and village bantabas to educate and encourage the use of alternative dispute resolution services. The ADRS has, over the past years, registered an increase in commercial disputes being referred to it for arbitration. It is our hope that this trend will reduce the pressure on the regular court system and reduce the timelines for completion of litigation. At the National Agency for Legal Aid, Significant progress continues to be made in improving quality services to men and women and children in all regions of the country. The agency has provided representation for adults, especially those charged with capital offenses, as well as children going through legal proceedings in the magistrates and children's courts. The agency has also increased its intervention at the prisons, leading to drastic reduction of protracted pretrial detentions. Investigative capacity of the National Agency Against Trafficking in Persons has been strengthened by increasing the number of investigators from 3 to 9. Currently, all tip cases before the courts are documented and the progress of hearing monitored. Trafficking in persons focal points have been appointed at Banjul International Airport and all border entry points. The agency has also developed a toll-free hotline for reporting trafficking cases, as well as sensitizing the public on trafficking, including child sex trafficking. On the international front, we continue to pursue justice for Rohingyas in the case against Myanmar before the International Court of Justice. The hearing of the case will resume later this month. The Gambia also continues to be in full compliance with its international obligations, especially in the enforcement of fundamental rights and freedoms through state reporting and implementation of conventions and treaties, both at regional and international level. In October 2021, history was made when Gambia was elected for the first time to the Human Rights Council, the United Nations body responsible for promoting and protecting all human rights around the globe. This is a 3-year term which starts January 2022 and will end in December 2024. Your Excellencies, my lords, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as we embark on the threshold of a new legal year, the Ministry is in the process of implementing its own 5-year strategic and activity plan. Foremost among our priorities is the continuing work towards the new constitution that will serve as a more suitable underpinning legal framework for the budding transformative democracy that we have begun building in the Gambia. Not only that, but the Ministry will also continue to lead the comprehensive review and harmonization process of all existing legislation, with a view particularly to modernizing our laws and expanding legislative coverage to new and emerging sectors in our society which require effective regulation. On that note, may I also state that access to information law has now come into effect following the presidential assent recently. Efforts to improve the quality and accessibility of state legal services will also continue as the Ministry continues to undertake measures to further indigenize the legal sector within Gambia, train lawyers to set up automation and database system, access to legal services through decentralization of service delivery mechanisms. Your Excellencies, my lords, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, following the submission of the TRRC final report to the government, the contents of the report have been made available to the public. The Ministry of Justice has thus already started consultations with development partners to put mechanisms in place for the implementation of the TRRC recommendations. In so doing, the Ministry has at the fore the situation of the victims of human rights violations, the need to deliver justice, promote national healing and reconciliation, and address impunity. To this end, work is in progress to set up a successor institution to the TRRC that will administer reparation payments to victims of human rights violations. In line with the Gambia's commitment to the compliance with the United Nations Convention Against Corruption and to strengthen good governance in the country, the Ministry has already tabled before the National Assembly an Anti-Corruption Bill 2020, which seeks to establish an anti-corruption commission which will ensure the prevention and eradication of corruption and corrupt practices in governance of the country. Additionally, the Ministry will continue to support and strengthen National Human Rights Commission for the promotion and protection of human rights in the Gambia. In a similar vein, we will also assist NATIB as it seeks to implement the recommendations from the 2021 U.S. State Department report on trafficking in persons, assisting the agency to elevate its status to Tier 1 in upcoming assessment cycle. Your Excellencies, my lords, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as we look forward to the resumption of proceedings of our case for justice for the Rohingya before the International Court of Justice later this month, true to the Gambia's positive legacy in relation to the African Commission on Human and People's Rights, The ministry is in engagement with relevant stakeholders to facilitate the construction of an African Commission on Human and People's Rights headquarters in the Gambia. This initiative is a testimony of the government's commitment to the ideals of the African Commission and human rights in Africa in general. Your Excellencies, my lords, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, in concluding my statement, I would like to reiterate the commitment of the government and the Ministry of Justice to engaging, supporting, and working with the judiciary of the Gambia Bar Association, as well as all the national and international stakeholders involved in the advancing the cause of justice, rule of law, and good governance in the Gambia, to transform the Gambia into a progressive liberal democracy built on Gambian values. As we enter this new legal year, may I take this opportunity to wish all of us a most fruitful year in our respective roles. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Having heard the address by the Honorable Chief Justice, the Honorable Minister of Justice and Attorney General, I have no doubt you have all been refreshed and inspired. I want to thank the police band for that interlude of music as well. Our next address will be delivered by His Lordship, the Honorable Chief Justice, Justice Hassan B. Jallow. He was appointed Chief Justice in 2016, and since his appointment, he has successfully introduced a number of reforms, which has resulted in bringing public confidence and trust in the judicial system. This is evidenced by the number of cases coming before the Cadiz Court, the Magistrates Court, the Specialized Courts, and the Superior Courts. We thank you, Your Lordship, for your commitment and patriotism. I'll now call upon His Lordship, the Honorable Chief Justice, to make a statement. Much obliged, my Lord.
Your Excellency, President Adam Barrow, Honorable Judges of the Superior Courts, Honorable Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Honorable Ministers, Your Worships, Magistrates and Cadis, Your Excellencies, members of the Diplomatic Corps, members of the Judicial Service Commission, President of the Gambia Bar Association and members of the Bar, the Director General of the Gambia Law School, governors, presidents of the district tribunals, members of staff of the judiciary and of the Attorney General's chambers, distinguished guests, I am very pleased to welcome Your Excellency, Mr. Adam Barrow, President of the Republic of the Gambia, and all distinguished guests this year again to this auspicious ceremony marking the opening of the legal year 2022, an occasion which was instituted some 30 years ago, and I'm pleased to say I was present then as a senior law officer of the Attorney General's chambers, and which has now, an event which has now become firmly embedded in our judicial calendar and indeed in our national calendar. We, the judiciary, and indeed the entire legal profession, are honored by your presence here today, Your Excellency, and thank you to all of you for coming. May I, Your Excellency, seize the opportunity on behalf of the judiciary to congratulate you on your recent re-election to the office of the President of the Republic of the Gambia and your subscription to the oath of office, which I was honored to administer on the 19th of January 2022. We look forward to your continued support for the independence and development of the judiciary. We also congratulate the entire people of the Gambia for the peaceful conduct of the elections, one of the most important elements of a system of democratic government. Indeed, the people of the Gambia rose in an exemplary manner to the occasion, and we congratulate them all. The opening of the legal year is not just an occasion for pomp and ceremony, but one which provides members of the legal profession, and indeed all stakeholders in the justice process, with an opportunity for stock-taking of the challenges in the sector and of the way forward in our common endeavor to provide independent, effective, and quality justice to all those who seek justice within our doors. Thus, the activities that we have planned for this year's opening are extensive, and they span the whole week. Beyond today's ceremony, a call to the bar ceremony is scheduled for tomorrow, Monday, in the same premises, in the course of which some 60 graduates of the Gambia Law School, 34 of whom are Gambians, will be called to the Gambia Bar, paving the way for them to commence their one-year pupillage prior to enrollment and practice as full legal practitioners. We will also hold a meeting tomorrow afternoon with the presidents and members of the district tribunals and the regional governors to discuss with them the challenges that they face in the administration of these district tribunals, in the administration of the customary law of our country. They form an important part of the legal system of this country. The laws they apply, they administer, form an important part of the body of laws in this country. And it is important we bear them in mind in looking at the challenges of the legal system as a whole. The Sentencing Council, which I had the privilege of establishing some time ago, will also be holding a 3-day training session for judges and magistrates in order to provide them with guidance on sentencing, in order to reduce disparities in sentencing and enhance coherence in that particular process, and generally improve the sentencing process. We are being assisted in this regard by a team of distinguished judges and lawyers from the Judicial College of England and Wales, whose presence here I wish to acknowledge in the persons of Justice Robin Knowles, Justice Martin Thomas Picton, Grace Carras, and the other members of their team. The Judicial College has been a very valuable partner to our judiciary, assisting us with training in other matters such as in case management, the management of coroner's inquests, court registry management, etc. We are indeed grateful to them and to Her Majesty's government for making their services available to us. I wish to also acknowledge the presence of the team from the Commonwealth Magistrates and Judges Association, led by Dr. Karen Brewer, which has been partnering with the Judicial College in the delivery of several capacity building programs for us here. The Judicial College and the CMJ, that is Commonwealth Magistrates and Judges Association, will also jointly conduct a day's training for judges and magistrates on business and human rights and on electronic and digital footprints. Lastly, but of particular importance, is the one-day conference that the judiciary will host this week in collaboration with the Female Lawyers Association of the Gambia, that is FLAG, a conference which will be devoted to the theme Women, Children, and the Law, at which will be examined not only the status of the law in relation to these important but vulnerable segments of our population, but also how the justice system can be made more cognizant of and responsive to their vulnerable and disadvantaged situations. It will indeed be an intensive full week's program, but we hope that it will provide at the end of it all some lessons, some guidance, and contribute significantly to efforts to improve the machinery of justice. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, as we stand here again, it is necessary to remember those of our colleagues who are not with us today. In the course of the last year, past 12 months, the judiciary lost Uri C., a cleaner, Marian Nicole, a courier, assistant registrar, Dudu Mane, an interpreter of several decades work in this judiciary here, and Abdullahi Ba, an interpreter, as well as Ablai Nyasi, and also an interpreter in the course of the year. They all gave their utmost to this institution and to its mandate. We pray that the Almighty grants them peace and mercy, and to those they left behind, comfort, strength, and divine guidance. The judiciary also lost the services of other staff through retirement, notably the Honorable Justice Raymond Sisok and the Honorable Justice Jibril Jani, both of whom attained the mandatory retirement age for judges last year and consequently retired from the bench of the Supreme Court, both of them after long and distinguished service to the judiciary, indeed to other branches of the legal profession and to the cause of justice. We thank them immensely for their exemplary and valuable service and wish them well in their retirement. The Judicial Service Commission will be submitting recommendations in due course to His Excellency the President of the Republic for the filling of the 2 vacancies created by these departures. Their departure, however, has highlighted the need for the government to take necessary measures to improve the conditions of service of judicial officers, particularly as regards their retirement benefits. It is important to bear in mind that retired judges are prohibited by law from engaging in legal practice. Of course, whilst in office, they cannot do that, but they can't do that even when they are no longer in office. And this is a good law meant to promote and secure the impartiality of the judges. But unless special retirement benefits are provided by law for judges, as obtained in other Commonwealth countries applying the same rule, judges in our jurisdiction will continue to retire into penury and into poverty, following a lifetime of dedicated public service. This is highly undesirable and impacts on the drive to attract and retain suitable Gambians to the bench, and indeed impacts on the overall strength of the bench. We urge Your Excellency to pay particular attention to this matter. I would also wish to welcome 2 new members of the Judicial Service Commission appointed by Excellency the President pursuant to Section 145 of the Constitution, namely Suleiman Samba and Mary Samba, the latter a member of the bar appointed in consultation with the legal profession. They both bring a wealth of experience of public service and of private practice to the Judicial Service Commission. Your Excellency, since you launched the strategic plan, the Judiciary Strategic Plan, a year ago, the Judiciary has been working with other government institutions and departments on its implementation. Late last year, the Judiciary, in collaboration with the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, and the Ministry of Justice, organized a donors conference from the 3rd to the 4th of November 2021 to present the plan to potential donors and to seek their support for its implementation. The conference was well attended with a number of states and international organizations expressing interest in some components of the plan. The Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs and the Judiciary are now following up with such parties on their expressions of interest. A joint delegation of the Judiciary and the Ministry We will also shortly embark on a follow-up mission for further consultations with each of our development partners who may be in a position to contribute to the implementation. We are very pleased to note that the government of the United States of America has decided to provide the sum of $4.35 million in support of the justice sector projects in the Gambia, some of which fall under the Judiciary Strategic Plan. Already the judiciary is in active discussions with the American Bar Association on the implementation of some of the components of the plan, such as with regard to training, case management, automation of court records and processes, review and revision of rules of court, as well as on alternative dispute resolution processes. Your Excellency, the 8 objectives of the plan, i.e. strengthening the independence and autonomy of the judiciary, upgrading and expanding its infrastructure, improving the efficiency of court processes and human resources, harnessing technology to that effect, and improving access to justice, have been and will continue to be the guiding principles for the development of the judiciary and for the machinery of justice. Since last year, the courts have been operating at full normal levels, following a brief interruption with a brief resort to a shift system with limits on the number of cases scheduled daily. Now we've resumed full operations. The case workload continues to be busy, with new cases constantly being filed. In 2021, a total of 8,882 cases, new cases, were registered across all the courts. 8,882 is incredible, an incredibly high number of cases. During the same period, however, the courts were able to dispose of 4,822 cases. These are very commendable effort by the judges, by the magistrates, the caddies, and panel members, by the members of staff, as well as the bar and other participants. But it is also an indicator that much more needs to be done by way of strengthening the judiciary with additional courtrooms, additional human resources, and other facilities, and by encouraging other alternative dispute resolution measures to supplement the judicial process. In order to decongest the prison system and accelerate the hearing of criminal cases, the judiciary also devoted the months of July and August 2021 exclusively to the hearing and determination of criminal cases, particularly of those in remand custody. This exercise, which was initiated in 2019, will continue periodically, and the next session is scheduled for this year after the Easter vacation of the superior courts. We have found this sessional concentration focus on criminal cases by all courts a very useful way of trying to decongest the courts, making sure that every person who is accused of a crime and who is held in custody is able to come forward to the courts. We are very conscious that there is room for further improvement of our good record in case management in order to reduce, if not eliminate, avoidable delays and dispose of cases more expeditiously. Thus, in July 2021, the judiciary organized a retreat for judges and magistrates, at which we sought to identify the factors causing delays in the courts and the measures that we, as judicial officers, can take to prevent or to reduce such delays and to expedite the process. Punctuality, regular attendance, avoidance of unnecessary adjournments, more efficient scheduling of cases, better control of court proceedings by judicial officers, and timely delivery of decisions and judgments were identified as some of the simple, practical, but critical measures that are within our means as judges. All of us, judges and magistrates, have committed ourselves to these measures, and I shall shortly be issuing a practice direction pursuant to Section 143 of the Constitution to give legal effect to this commitment. I once again call upon all judicial officers to implement these measures fully. This will, of course, require also the collaboration of the bar and of all other persons who appear before the courts. And I look forward to that cooperation. Your Excellency, with the completion of the structure of the new court complex at Bundung, slated to accommodate 2 high courts, 2 magistrates' courts, and 2 Kadi courts, the acute shortage of courtroom space in the Greater Banjul area, which obviously impacts negatively on the hearing and disposal of cases, stands to be slightly ameliorated. We wish to register our appreciation to our consultants, GAMWORKS, and the contractor, Masita Enterprise, respectively, for the supervision and timely completion of this important project. We look forward to the timely release by the Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs of the necessary funds for furniture and equipment to ensure that the new court complex becomes operational without further delay. Your Excellency, with the provision of some $40 million in the 2022 budget for infrastructure development, the judiciary is planning to expand its infrastructure by commencing the construction of a new court complex in Brikama for the West Coast region, similar to the one in Bundung, and the construction of an archives and administrative building in the Law Courts complex at Independence Drive, Banjul, that is here in this spot where we are. Both projects will span 2 years and be completed in 2023. The West Coast region is the largest judicial district of the High Court, and it is also the origin of the majority of our cases. Its courtroom facilities are inadequate, as is the case in much of the Greater Banjul area. The 2 projects will respectively ameliorate the acute courtroom shortage, provide additional office accommodation for staff, and ensure better storage and security of the files and documents of the judiciary. The efforts of the courts to dispose of cases expeditiously must, given the continuous increase of the workload, be supplemented by attempts at out-of-court settlement of civil disputes. It appears that there is not much significant effort in that respect, and that for many aggrieved persons, the first option seems to be just to come to court, institute litigation. Unfortunately, that should not be the case. Court litigation should be a last resort after attempts at settlement of the dispute have been exhausted. Where the parties do not do so, it is proper that the judiciary itself steps in to create a mandatory legal framework for parties to explore settlement prior to litigation. Accordingly, following a review of the court-connected alternative dispute resolution system, we have decided in the judiciary to reintroduce the system, and appropriate rules and regulations have been drafted by the ADR Court-Connected Committee, chaired by the Honorable Justice Omar M. Jai, President of the Gambia Court of Appeal, assisted by the Honorable Justice Zainab Jawara Alami of the High Court and other staff. The draft rules will, following validation, be submitted to the Rules Committee for promulgation shortly. The Rules Committee, which comprises the Chief Justice, the Attorney General, and a representative of the Bar, has also recently established a standing subcommittee on practice and procedure, headed by the Honorable Justice Senabu Wada Sise, and including members from the Judiciary, the Attorney General's Chambers, and the Bar, to keep under constant review the rules and practices of the High Court and the subordinate courts, and to submit recommendations for reform to the Rules Committee for their consideration. We hope that this will result in improvements of the practice and the procedure of these courts in order to make them more efficient and their processes more expeditious. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, seem to have lost the mic. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, harnessing modern technology is one of the ways in which the efficiency of court processes can be significantly improved. The strategic plan lays emphasis on this as one of the 8 objectives That is to say, we need to harness technology, use technology, in order to improve the efficiency of our processes. The virtual courts which the Judicial Secretary referred to earlier, which conducted remote hearings with the use of technology introduced during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, these courts were established. Oh. Can't you? These courts were established. I'm sorry. These virtual courts were established last year with the support of the UNDP, and they were subsequently rolled out after being established in the High Court. They were rolled out to the subordinate courts, in the magistrates' courts in Banjul, Kanifing, and Brikama. Suffice it to say that the system was helpful in the disposal of bail and other applications which were brought before these courts, and especially in the hearing of criminal cases during the month of July, August last year, which I already alluded to. It was also particularly useful in the hearing and determination of cases at the High Court relating to electoral matters in 2021, and this contributed to the early disposal, speedy disposal of those cases. The challenge, however, as alluded to by the Judicial Secretary, faced in the operation of the system of remote hearings is the too frequent interruption in internet connectivity. We are nonetheless committed to move forward on this front and hope that connectivity will improve with time and with effort. Moving forward under the strategic plan, the judiciary, with the support of the USAID and the American Bar Association, is extending our current CAT system of recording and transcription of court proceedings to a more extensive and permanent system. As a pilot project, the transcription service was successfully utilized in the just concluded December-January session of the Supreme Court. With donor support, we plan to have in place within the next 18 months a system for recording and transcription of court proceedings in all the superior courts, i.e. in the Supreme Court, in the Court of Appeal, and in the High Court, and eventually thereafter to roll down the system to the subordinate courts. This system of mechanical recording and transcription of court proceedings will, by replacing the handwriting of the judicial officers, expedite the trials, as well as expedite the preparation of records for appeals, a process that currently takes a considerable period of time. On behalf of the judiciary, I wish to register our great appreciation to the UNDP, the USAID, and the American Bar Association for their assistance in introducing what is nothing less than a revolutionary system to the judiciary, which is expected to have an enormous impact on the efficient and expeditious disposal of cases, and also on the management of our records and archives. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, the judiciary will continue to focus strongly on the development of its human resources, as a well-trained workforce is indispensable for efficiency. We will continue to sponsor members of staff for training in law, both at university level and at the professional level in the Gambia Law School. 5 staff members are currently sponsored at the University of the Gambia for the LLB program by the judiciary, and another 5 are sponsored by the judiciary at the Gambia Law School for the BL professional course. Several other members of staff are undertaking diploma-level courses in relevant subjects, again under the sponsorship of the judiciary. The Judicial Service Commission has now reduced from 10 to 5 years the duration of service required for staff members to be eligible for sponsorship, subject, of course, to availability of funds. This change of policy has provided an opportunity for training to a wider pool of members of staff. Recruitment is currently in progress for the support staff of the Human Resources Monitoring and Evaluation Unit of the judiciary in order to ensure better management of our human resources. As you may already be aware, The Judicial Service Commission has recently appointed 5 new cadis, to whom I administered the oaths of office 2 days ago. The new appointments will enhance the capacity of the Islamic courts. Significantly, they include, for the first time in the history of the Gambia, the appointment of females as cadis. And we'd like to congratulate Fatima Sow and Mariama Jata, who have made history by being the first to join the bench. And they are both graduates, university graduates of Sharia. And we wish them all the success in their work, as well as to their male counterparts as well. With regard to the High Court, I am pleased to report that His Excellency, the President of the Republic, has, pursuant to Section 138 of the Constitution, approved the recommendation of the Judicial Service Commission and appointed 3 new judges to the High Court. They are respectively Sheriff Tabari, current master and registrar of the High Court, Aissatou Jane, principal magistrate Kanifing, and CDK Jobate, principal magistrate. It seems that neither the JSC nor His Excellency the President has made a wrong choice from the acclamation I see. Their appointments follow upon a most rigorous process of evaluation and assessment by the Commission and the subcommittee of a pool of candidates with strong credentials. Upon assumption of office, these new judges will respectively be posted to Bundung, to Brikama West Coast Region, and one will be posted as the resident High Court judge in Mansakonko, with jurisdiction over the Lower River Region and the North Bank Region. The current sole provincial High Court judge, in the person of the Honorable Justice L.M. Sane, who has been shouldering magnificently the work of the High Court in the provinces, he will be based in Basse as resident High Court judge with jurisdiction over the Upper River and Central River regions. These appointments and postings will ensure that there is full-time countrywide coverage by the High Court, and it will facilitate access to justice in the rural areas. I urge the other justice stakeholders, particularly the Attorney General's chambers and the National Agency for Legal Aid, to make the necessary deployments of staff, and the bar also to ensure its presence in these areas in order to facilitate the smooth functioning of these provincial courts. We congratulate the newly appointed cadis and the new High Court judges designate and wish them success in their tenure of office. We wish to convey our appreciation and that of the Judicial Service Commission to His Excellency the President for the appointment of the High Court judges. The Judicial Service Commission will in due course and Reparations Commission, TRRC, and the submission of its report to government has opened the potential for an additional heavy workload of difficult and complex cases for the judiciary. If any process of accountability through prosecution is to follow from the work of the TRRC, the judiciary will be the key actor in the process. The extent and nature of the workload is not yet clear, but clarity, I am sure, will follow upon the issue of the government white paper and the exercise of the necessary prosecutorial discretion by the relevant authority. Proceeding with accountability post-TRRC will undoubtedly require additional resources for the judiciary and perhaps even institutional restructuring in order to manage the workload efficiently. Meanwhile, with the assistance of the UNDP and the ABA, the judges of the superior courts have been looking at the jurisprudence and practical experience of other countries and of other jurisdictions, both national and international, which have been engaged in such accountability process. We shall indeed be ready to deal with these cases, subject to the necessary resources being provided. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, this occasion is, as we said, one for stock-taking and reflection. It is also an occasion for celebration and an occasion for reaffirmation of our commitment to the rule of law. Our nation has chosen the path of good governance on the path of democracy. That path requires respect and obedience to law. It requires the strengthening of the machinery of justice. It requires adherence to the values of tolerance, of peace, of respect for diversity, and respect for each other. And it requires fostering national unity and solidarity. It is in these that lie the path to progress, the path to prosperity. We shall continue to strive and to work and to pray to that end, and we urge all others to do the same. It is now my honor and pleasure, Your Excellency, to invite you to address this gathering and to declare open the 2022 legal year. I thank you for your attention.
My Lord, the Chief Justice, Justices of the Superior Courts, Magistrates and Cadis, Honorable Cabinet Ministers, members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, members of the Gambia Bar Association, members of the Judicial Service Commission, district chiefs, also serving as presidents of the district tribunals and members of the district tribunal present, staff of the judiciary, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is with immense honor as President of the Republic that I preside over the official opening of the 2022 legal year. I must take this opportunity right away to extend warm facilitation to all the dignitaries and eminent guests present in this august gathering. Ladies and gentlemen, since the year 2019, the world has been battling a pandemic that continues to affect the socio-economic fabric of society, including judicial systems. However, this has not stopped our judiciary from dispensing justice as required by law. Bearing in mind that the rule of law is the bedrock of society. My government continues to support the country's judiciary to sustain a healthy and stable democracy. We maintain that the judiciary must remain resolute, independent, and strong enough to facilitate good governance and the rule of law. On this occasion, it is proper, therefore, to celebrate the heroes of the Gambia's judicial system, who continues to work courageously to administer justice and enrich our law system. Together, we have successfully laid the foundations in the areas of good governance, respect for human rights, the rule of law, and women empowerment, which now need to develop and extend. Your Lordships, Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, you will recall that in December 2017, by an act of the National Assembly, my government established the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission, TRRC, to investigate and provide a fair and accurate historical record of the human rights violations committed in the country from July 1994 to January 2017. We took this informed decision to establish the truth, promote accountability, deliver justice, mediate reconciliation, and pay reparations where necessary. The TRRC accorded the victim of injustice the opportunity to relay their experiences for redress, and it provided a platform for willing offenders to confess and repent, hoping this would bring about closure and healing to unite the nation. The TRRC completed its work and submitted its report to me on the 25th of November 2021. A white paper will be released within 6 months from submission date to outline the government's position on the Commission's findings and recommendations. I urge every Gambian to exercise restraint as we continue reviewing the report to take suitable action and ensure that the never again mantra is entrenched in the Gambia. My Lords, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, since its establishment in 2017, the National Human Rights Commission has been fully functional to promote and protect human rights in the country, and to make sure that we observe human rights standards. The Commission also networks with other human rights bodies and institutions to strengthen partnerships. As a government, we remain resolved to respect the independence of this important commission. That aside, I am proud to state that the Gambia is in full compliance with its reporting obligations and will continue to fulfill its international reporting commitments. In respect of such obligations, as expressed in the National Development Plan, we achieved nearly 70% of our reporting target for 2018-2021. By submitting reports on various human rights issues to international treaty bodies. My Lords, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, within the last 2 years, the ECOWAS sub-region experienced several conflicts and military takeovers. The development in Mali, Guinea, and recently Burkina Faso undermined the democratization process and achievements made in the sub-region. These actions are against the letter and spirit of the ECOWAS Protocol on Democracy and Good Governance and should be controlled. It needs to be emphasized that taking over power in any country must be done only through free, fair, and transparent elections. Which the citizens of the Gambia laudably demonstrated in the December 4th presidential elections. At the global level, the Gambia continues to pursue the court against Myanmar for violating the rights of its Rohingya Muslim minority. To seek justice for the Rohingya, we filed the case on the 11th of November 2019 at the International Court of Justice with the support of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. My government is committed to fight the case to its logical end to restore the rights of the Rohingya, who continue to suffer from genocidal crimes. My lords, your excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, you will recall that last year I launched the Judiciary Strategic Plan 2021-2025. The plan provides the roadmap and framework to enable the judiciary to discharge its functions as key player in protecting our constitutional democracy, the rule of law, and good governance. I sincerely thank the international community for attending the donor conference on the plan, and I call upon them to support this noble initiative further, and by extension, judicial sector as a whole. My lords, your excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, fittingly, let me pay special tribute to the men and women in the judiciary for serving justly and devotedly under the able leadership of the Chief Justice, Honorable Hassan Boubacar Jallo. We are fully conscious of the sacrifices you make to protect the peace and stability of this country. I am pleased to disclose that the government will review the salaries, allowances, and other benefits of senior staff. Furthermore, the judicial officers bill will be finalized and tabled before the National Assembly by the end of this year. Finally, I express profound thanks and gratitude to the district chiefs present. For ages, the chiefs have been playing a very significant role in administering justice, especially within our local communities. Today, as president of the district tribunals, they continue to exercise similar responsibilities, thereby enhancing peace and order in our communities. We are thankful for this. My lords, excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, with these remarks, it is my pleasure and honor to declare the 2022 legal year officially open.
Your Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I will invite the police band once more to give us an interlude of music before we continue. Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of His Lordship, the Honorable Chief Justice, and the entire legal profession, I believe I speak for all when I say we believe in the rule of law and uphold the universal principles that all Gambians and everyone living in the Gambia is accountable under the law. That the law is clear, precise, and stable, and fair, and protect the fundamental rights, including the security of persons and property. The process by which the laws are administered, enacted, implemented, and enforced is accessible, fair, and efficient. Access to justice is facilitated by competent, independent, ethical, and efficient adjudicators and legal practitioners or representatives and judicial officers who reflect the makeup of the communities they serve. We recall the words of the Roman statesman, lawyer, scholar, and orator, Marcus Tullius Cicero, when he said that we are all servants of the law in order that we may be free. The global pandemic has been with us for 2 years now, but is still relentless. We have to deal with the virus in different mutations, in different ways, which has now put our healthcare system under great strain and jeopardy. However, we have been resilient and adapted. In all, we have not departed from our belief in the rule of law. We are grateful to all the stakeholders of the justice delivery system for the proactive decision to introduce and implement a number of measures and strategies in response to this COVID-19 pandemic. By these measures, the justice system sought to strike the balance of safeguarding the health and safety of the public, judicial officers, and the court staff, while maintaining a functional judicial system which allows access and proper administration of justice. My lords, despite the difficulties and challenges experienced during the COVID-19, the administration of justice is still always alive and well in the Gambia. A special debt of gratitude to the Honorable Chief Justice for so calmly steering the ship of justice over the dangerous waters of the pandemic. We are benefiting from his creative and quiet calmness and confidence which have marked his leadership. Before closing, permit me a few indulgences. Firstly, allow me to officially welcome the new judicial officers appointed recently. I'm delighted to welcome you all as members of the judiciary. Echoing the words of King George VI, the highest distinction is services to others. Secondly, allow me to also place on record our appreciation for the continued support of the Gambia Bar Association, Gambia Law Society, Ministry of Justice, other stakeholders. I encourage you all to keep the good work and never flinch from your duties in taking unfavorable decisions which are necessary at times to preserve and maintain the integrity of the legal profession for the due administration of justice. Permit me also to convey our sincere gratitude to all the cohort of judicial officers for their tremendous efforts over the course of the last year. Surely you have all gone above and beyond expectations. Last year was a difficult one for many of us. Some of us were separated from close family and relatives, and this was beyond our normal solitary life. Yet we have preserved to see to it that you, the public, we are not short in seeking to obtain justice. I thank you for your dedicated and continued service. This year, let us renew our energies and focus to our task and continue to imagine and reimagine ways to make courts more efficient, thereby building a more improved justice system to which all can look and rely with confidence. May I convey sincere thanks and appreciation to the judges for their dedication and hard work despite the challenges posed by the COVID-19. My lords and my ladies have delivered landmark decisions in certain areas of the law, considered novel and which have no doubt enriched jurisprudence and knowledge I practice. I thank the magistrates and cadis who have been most patient for all that they had to endure. I also wish to thank our registrars who have ably managed the operation of the registries during this extremely difficult time. His Lordship, the Honorable Chief Justice, will continue to liaise with the Executive on matters of funding and smooth operations of courts. in all that we managed to accomplish over the past year. Our stakeholders, partners, and donor agencies have been there alongside us, providing much needed assistance. On behalf of the entire judiciary, I express sincere thanks to the USA Embassy, British High Commission, the Gambia Law School, UNDP, UNICEF, and the government for all those specifically not mentioned for their continued support for the judiciary in its mission to provide access to the system of justice that is fair and efficient. I express gratitude to all individuals who have continued to contribute to the success over the last year, in particular our staff at the various courts. I must register our deepest gratitude to the organizing committee for the legal year, the drivers and the cleaners for making this event a success. I urge you all to work together as things are changing fast. Our deepest gratitude to the members of the public, private bar, the police, as well as the people of the Gambia whom we serve on a daily basis. I pray that the Almighty will keep us all safe all through the challenging period, and that God will instill in us the courage and resilience to persevere. I once again thank Your Excellency, the President, for your support of the judiciary as it journeys towards a reimagined justice system for the Gambia. And I thank Your Excellency and your government and the Gambian people for granting His Lordship, the Honorable Chief Justice, the great honor and privilege for being part of that journey over the past 5 years. As we come to a close, I wish to take this opportunity to thank Your Excellency President Adama Barrow again for taking time off your busy schedule to open the legal year 2020. To all the speakers, I also wish to thank you to all of you for taking time to commemorate the opening of the law year 2022. As the COVID continues to linger, I urge all of you to stay well and safe and to vaccinate and be alive to witness workings of the reimagined justice system in the era of COVID-19. May the judiciary continue to grow from strength to strength and as envisaged in the judiciary strategic plan. I now move on to the next agenda item, which is to urge all the distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the media, to allow His Excellency the President and the Honorable Chief Justice to depart. May your Lord, as your Lordship pleases. I understand that there will be a photo session just before we proceed to the chambers of the Honorable Chief Justice. I thank you all for your presence.
And we are trying to really mention the food, the significance, but the... You going home now? Yeah, tomorrow again. But I provided all the information you needed. I provided all the information. Eventually. Let's do
Then I come a little bit.